Alright, so today, Crizel, you wanted to talk about how to measure units for grade 1s. And it was length that you wanted to focus on, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, it's good because I got this idea from Scoodle. Now, the Scoodle identifier will be right here. Magic. Now, this Scoodle activity came from the ABC website, and what it was Elmo. You know Elmo? Mm-hmm. Yeah, is your favourite childhood memory, Elmo? Elmo's height was measured using different things like bananas and footballs. So we're going to use a similar concept, but we're going to use more classroom familiar items, like pens and paper clips and so forth. Now, when you think about grade 1s, they normally look at items and judge them perceptually, which means they just see an item and they decide that looks bigger, that's the biggest one. So let's do a little example here. Perceptually, just looking, which pencil looks bigger?
Has to be the blue one.
Has to be the blue one? Well, let's do what they call direct comparison. So we're just going to put these two pens here. And the red one is taller. See, even us teachers can make the same mistakes as grade 1s.
Exactly.
Which is why it's not an accurate way of measuring, because what do you do when the difference between the pens is very similar? So what we're going to do today is something called indirect comparison and measurement, which aligns really closely with the Vic curriculum that actually states we have to measure and compare the length of an object using informal units. But these units have to remain the same or constant for it to be accurate. As an example, an informal unit could be a rubber. But a mistake that could happen is if you tell the kids measure the length of these pens with rubbers, they'll just get out all different types of rubbers. But would that be a consistent form of unit, Crizel?
No, would it?
No, because all of these are different shapes and sizes, and so it wouldn't be a good way to use. So what we're going to use today is paper clips, because paper clips are all the same. So let's do this first activity, this first indirect comparison, and we are going to compare this pen with this texter. So I'll go first. You've got, maybe you would like to count with me. 1, 2, 3, oops, 4, and 5 and a little bit. So we can say that, and that finishes there, we can say that this is around 5. Now, would you like to do this one for me?
Sure. Do I have to count as well?
Yes, if you could count. Do you know how to count to 4?
Oh, yes, I
Great.
can.
Okay,
1,
so 1,
2,
2,
3.
3. Just make sure these are straight. And 4. Okay, 4. So according to this strategy, which pen was the biggest? The red or the highlighter?
Red.
Red, great, because it's a bigger number. Well done! You can really see that maths is a real strong point of your intellectual capacity, which is great to see.
Didn't pass VC for nothing.
Oh, that's all right. You're a very smart woman. So, now we are going to use another unit, but we're going to use the rubber. But this time, instead of using different rubbers, we're just going to use the one rubber and simultaneously measure. Because at least it's consistent because you're using the same one for all of them. So let's measure these books. Yeah, maybe we can. No, we don't. That's for the pharmacist. All right, I'll measure this one with the same rubber. So watch carefully. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we can say and a half. So 5 and a half. Now, would you like to measure our other book from the end using the rubber? Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4.
4, and that was 5 and a bit. So according to this, which book was bigger? Exactly, the top one. And another way we can use an informal unit and measure something pretty accurately. So that was with the small objects. But Chriselle, what do we do when we have to measure a big object like a table or a door?
I do not know. Can you please help me?
Well, that's why I'm here to help. So we are going to use string, and we're going to be measuring our brown cupboard over there and our bench. So what we're going to do is, Chriselle, the brown bench will be represented with a black tip. So remember, brown is the black tip. And the other bench will be represented with a pink tip. So, come over here. Okay. We're going to go length to length. So, hold the string at the end there. We're going to roll the string. And now hold that string right till the edge of it. And I'm going to hold it to the edge. And if you could cut the end over there. Beautiful. So this is our first bench. And let's come and do the other bench over here. Thank you. And I'm going to hold it to the end of this bench. Make sure it's straight. And voila. Beautiful. Alright. And remember, this bench was represented as is it yellow tip or doesn't matter?
It was pink.
It was pink. That's right, yellow and pink are very similar colour. So, now if you come over closely here, we are going to make sure that with sticky tape, we're going to start both of these strings at the same line. So right there. Would you say that's accurate start, Chriselle? Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to pull these so we can see which one measures out to be the longest. So this is the black one over here, and this is the yellow one, which was that bench over there. So Chriselle, which one, according to this format, is the longest table?
Yellow.
Yellow, because it's longer. Very simple, but effective, isn't it? Well, if we come back over to our chair, just do a little summary for the people at home. We learnt about the indirect comparison and the measurement. So we had different forms of informal units. We used paper clips because they're the same. We used one rubber simultaneously because that was also the same thing. And we used the string, which is the same, and it's visually easy to represent the length. Now, do you think those are some of the things you can incorporate into your classroom?
Yes.
Oh, it's great. I'm so happy you could help, and I wish you all the best to deal with the little rascals. Keep it up.